It's a great pleasure to welcome Frikkie van Loggerenberg, who is the Head of Investment Strategy, as well as the Chief Executive Officer of IFSA. Frikkie, how are you doing? Welcome, and thank you for joining us. I love the story you were talking about, the name IFSA, where that comes from, and you've kind of just incorporated it into your name. Can you tell us about IFSA?
Well, at this stage, we primarily focused, we investment management business. But as we chatted before, starting back 20 years ago, we were primarily an advisory business focusing on high net worth individuals, family offices, and we wanted to branch out into Africa. So it was Independent Financial Services Africa. But as time goes on, I mean, putting Independent Financial Services Africa in an email address doesn't work. So we just cut it short to IFSA and branched the business out from there.
Well, listen, I like it, and thank you for joining us on this episode of What's Next. Frikkie, look, let me ask you, and I'm looking forward to this conversation because a lot of what we're going to be talking, it applies to me, right? But one of the flaws in the financial services market at the moment remains the quick and dirty financial planning. You know, it's like you think about it and I get anxious just thinking about it. What's your view on this? When you start planning for financial things, you start somewhere and you just get so lost. It's so daunting and scary.
So I can be honest, being in the industry for 25 years odd, started off, the industry was a lot less regulated back then, whereby anybody could decide they're a financial planner now, and they can start selling policies or selling insurance products. Now, a lot of that is evolved, and our financial advisory system or industry has developed so much and has become so much more professional that it's actually astounding. It's actually amazing. But the problem persists, even with all these regulations and how to do your compliance back. If you use it only as a tick box type of effect, that is an issue for me, because you are supposed to be doing a lifestyle type of analysis. You're doing like a estate planning, investment analysis. So the product is later on. You should first focus on what's the need, focus on what needs to be done, what's the work to be implemented, look at what type of products is needed for those, and then you can also add the different categories of businesses that you want to implement, like the funds and the insurance companies. So the planning, the work has to be done beforehand, before you sell the product. So move away from product and more to the advisory, the planning side.
Okay, so that makes sense. You see, so people want to start building the house when they don't look at the foundations. So first look at what you want to do, and and then plan around that. Okay, I like that. It makes sense. So why would you say that estate planning, right, if it's done right, is the key to financial success?
Look, if you take a look at estate planning in general, if you estate plan is nothing more than a snapshot of your current financial position today. So it's governed by regulations. So if something happens to you today, you will pay X amount of tax. This is the cost that's going to be incurred to handle your estate, and this is the financial position that your legacy will leave. So if you don't plan it properly and incorporated that into your investment planning, because your investment planning, you've got an amazing plan going forward for the next 15, 20 years. But if you die today, it doesn't mean actually anything. And you want to make sure that you get the best tax planning possible, and that is to take a look at your investments. You have to take a look at your estate, and then you can implement the tax strategies. And of course, nobody wants to work for 40 odd years, and then at the end of the day, they want to pay a heap to the government, and not to the people that they love and care for.
Yeah, look, it's very true what you say. I mean, and a lot of people, never mind not planning their estates. Some people don't even have a will, and that's even scarier, right? But when you look at those common mistakes, and you I guess you see this every day in your interactions with your customers and people coming to you for the first time. What are some of those common mistakes that investors make when they consider estate planning?
So you've just said it exactly that. Okay, that's the first thing. People don't even have a will, which is very problematic. The second thing is what people think is I haven't got any debt, so I don't need to take care of my estate planning. I've got a very simplified will, so I don't need to do planning because everything goes to my spouse, and that's fine. It's some of those common mistakes that you've actually got an issue with, but because estate planning or taking care of the estate is not just a written document. It must be practically actioned. Must be practically actioned out of a legal perspective and of a practical perspective. And we've got one of the situations a couple of weeks ago where the family had this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful family house that the person wanted to bequeath to their two kids, and they wanted that to run in generations. But there wasn't enough liquidity in the will. So they had to end up selling that property because the costs incurred and the estate duties and all those wasn't enough. There wasn't enough liquidity in the estate to handle this, and they had to sell their property. And that was not at all what the intention was at the onset of the will. And that's an issue. The fact, or the biggest mistake that I've seen, is people that actually think that there is a day of tomorrow and there is 2 weeks from now, and they don't focus on what needs to be done today. They don't implement it because, in my view, it has to be like faith in our Lord Jesus Christ. It has to be the cornerstone of everything. But if you don't do your estate planning, you can have the best ideas or whatever the case is. You don't know when your ties are cut, when it's your time to leave, and all of us, we're going to go through that process. It's basically a guarantee that we're going to die. So why don't we plan for those guarantees? Is my type of thing.
Yeah, yeah, and you're quite right. You think that it's not going to happen, but it is. We're going to die at some point, and you need to make sure that everything is, you've got all your ducks in order. So when you look at yourselves at IFSA and your independent network of financial advisors, what makes you guys so different? Because let's be honest, there's a lot of people doing similar stuff to what you're doing. Why is your approach different? Why should people come to IFSA?
So, okay, it's not just a how good the products are, and we, what my stance are on products. The products come last. It's how we look at things, in the sense that you are not afraid to ask the difficult questions. We are 100% independent, which means we are not affiliated with any of the insurance companies, any of the broker houses, any of the funders. We can do an objective, take a look at everything. And we're not scared to ask the difficult questions by saying, you've been with this platform for so long, why are you there? Why are you not here? So we like to push the envelope and add actual value to how everything is going.
Okay. All right. So okay. Now that makes sense. So in other words, if I had to say what IFSA does is, let's say me as an individual, I'll come and see you guys, and you will plan my estate and structure my estate in such a way so that when I do die, everything is in plan and is going to happen according to my wishes, right? Is that a fair assessment?
Correct. 100%. You've got it spot on. So the process that we like to go for is yes, we specialize 100% in investment management. That's our core focus. That is where we specialize in. But because of the years and years and years, clients asking us, listen, we need to do this and this and this, and it comes down to, you need that estate plan. So what we do is we do a total portfolio restructure or total portfolio analysis. And with that investment portfolio analysis, we do the estate planning with it because it works hand in hand. And then we do our presentation to say, if we take a look at what the math says, currently, this is your situation. This is what we can do. And if you stay at this trajectory, this is what's going to happen with you in 20 years' time or 10 years' time. You're going to have a lot of pain there, or little pain now, or whatever the case is. So that is how we like to take like a holistic look at what you need. And yet again, we're not scared to ask the very difficult questions. It's very important that people be open and honest with what they want, because we need to establish what they actually need. And that is one of the differentiator factors that we are.
So also, I mean, let's say if someone's in their 40s and they're watching this and they're saying, okay, I'm not sure if I've got enough money invested for when I do want to retire. I want to sort out my estate. I'm not sure how it's going to work out when I retire. You help them with that as well. And you'll say, look, if you want to retire, this is how much you want to retire with. This is how much you need to put aside every month. You guys assist with that process as well?
100%. So if there's a need, we will definitely pair the client with a specific advisor in a specific area, because we've got a national network, and that makes it a little bit easier. And you make sure that the personalities are also quite the same. But then we've got a basic standardized practice where we objectively take a look at your analysis, and we give you that feedback to say, listen, you are overinsured, but you need to save more on this and this and this, or you've got too much in a retirement annuity, you're not utilizing, you've got too much allocation, you're not utilizing your full tax ability, whatever the case is. So we go through that whole spectrum, and we provide you with the information, and we can talk product after the fact, but the need needs to be addressed first before you take a look at the product.
Okay, so if somebody wants to get in touch with you guys, I mean, how does one book a session, and what is the cost of a session?
So the booking of the call to action is very easy. It's you can just SMS the word contact to 48422, contact to 48422, and we've got a team ready that will give you a phone call just to see exactly where you are and what you need, and we'll take it from there. Out of a cost perspective, a cup of coffee and a sandwich, I think would do the first assessment, will be done there. We don't charge anything beforehand. And you can see, obviously, I've been doing a lot of free work the last couple of months or years or whatever the case is. So we don't charge a fee. What we like to do is when we position your investment portfolio, we don't take any upfront commissions and those type of things. We have a management fee that is standardized. And we like to think of it that if a client does well in a percentage or in a ratio, we also do well. So we would like to implement the strategy like that, so that everybody is a win-win, and it's a symbiotic population.
And does the size of the estate matter? Is there a minimum value that you guys talk to in terms of assets required for estate planning, or do you talk to anybody?
We will talk to anybody. If there's anybody that needs help, we are there for help. Like I said, we are in the business to add value. Even if it's just on a phone call, and obviously there's different categories of estates that have got different rules to apply, but we'll take care of everybody. But the fact is, if you've got zero assets, you still need people, in the sense that people need to know what to do with. Do you need to be buried? Is it cremation? Whatever the case is, so you need a will. So it doesn't matter what the size of the estate is. You need professional help.
Frikkie van Loggerenberg, Head of Investment Strategy and the Chief Executive Officer at IFSA. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of What's Next.